Forget the roaring fireplaces and giant turkey legs from Hollywood movies. The reality of an 11th century English alehouse was far grittier, smellier, and more survival-focused than anything you've seen on screen. If you stepped into a typical drinking house in the years after the Norman conquest, the first thing that would hit you was the overwhelming stench, a thick mix of wood smoke, unwashed bodies, sour ale, and boiling grain. This wasn't a cozy pub, it was a place built for survival. After the Norman invasion, English society was sharply divided, and so were its drinking spots. True taverns were upscale establishments that mainly served imported wine to Norman lords, wealthy merchants, and high-ranking clergy. But for ordinary peasants, serfs, and labourers, the only option was the local alehouse. Most alehouses weren't even proper businesses. They were usually just someone's modest wattle and daub home. When the alewife, the woman of the house, finished brewing a fresh batch, she'd hang an ale, stake a long pole with a bundle of greenery outside the door to let the village know fresh ale was ready. Inside, the air was thick and heavy. The smell of sweat from men who'd been working the fields since sunrise, mixed with wood smoke from the central hearth and the yeasty aroma of ale. At the centre of it all was the ale itself. This wasn't modern beer. Medieval ale was thick, cloudy, and flat, basically liquid bread. It was highly caloric and mildly alcoholic. Because plain water was often dangerously contaminated, almost everyone, including small children, drank weak ale throughout the day, just to stay hydrated. Hops hadn't reached England yet, so brewers used a mix of bitter herbs like yarrow, mugwort, and heather. Without hops as a preservative, the ale spoiled quickly, meaning women had to brew almost constantly. When it came to food, the undisputed staple was pottage. This was a thick, simple stew or porridge that simmered all day over the fire. Its base was usually oats or barley, filled out with whatever vegetables were available: cabbage, leeks, onions, turnips, and peas. On better days, the alewife might add scraps of salted bacon, dried fish, or marrow bones. Fresh meat was almost unheard of for common people. Served alongside the pottage was coarse maslin bread, a heavy, dark loaf made from rye, barley, and sometimes ground peas or beans. It was tough, gritty, and difficult to chew, but it provided essential calories for people doing back-breaking labor. Peasants often used chunks of this bread as edible spoons to scoop up their pottage. The ale house was much more than just a place to eat and drink. It was the heart of village life. Peasants lived in dark, cramped huts, shared with animals. The alehouse offered warmth, light, and rare moments of community. The room was loud and crowded. People sat shoulder to shoulder on rough benches, drinking from wooden cups or leather jacks. A few rushlights, cheap candles made from reeds, dipped in animal fat, provided flickering illumination. Traveling minstrels might sing songs or tell stories. Men played dice games like hazard or board games like Nine Men's Morris. Gambling was common, and the stakes could be painfully high, sometimes a man's tools or precious seed grain. Fights occasionally broke out, especially after too much ale. With no police, disagreements were often settled with fists or knives right there on the dirt floor. As the night wore on, the village curfew bell would ring, the cover fire bell introduced by the Normans. Everyone had to dampen their hearths and head home. Walking back through pitch-black lanes, they returned to simple straw pallets on the floor, sleeping beside their livestock for warmth. Their lives were incredibly difficult: constant labor, poor nutrition, and the constant risk of famine. Yet these communities survived through shared resources, resilience, and the small comforts they found in each other.